Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Destiny 2. In today's episode, I like to call this how to fix Destiny 2's broke weapon system. Well, actually, it's Destiny 2's broke weapon system and how to fix it. But I said it backwards the first time. Anyway, it's not fair to call Destiny 2's weapon system broken, but let's call it unfulfilling or unfilled out or unfleshed or something to that effect. I don't know. Anyway, what I want to talk about is some changes I would like to see in Destiny 2 to the weapon system, to how you get weapons, to where they come from, to kind of, you know, help flesh things out, help add more story to the game, help add more guns to the game, just something like that. So we'll go through some Destiny 1 history, we'll talk about how it is now, and then we'll talk about what I'd like to see. So if that sounds like fun, let's get to it. So in Destiny 1, when I was originally hooked, vanilla Destiny, day 3 I think was when I started playing it. It came out, I didn't play it the first day for some reason, but like the third day that it came out I started playing it, and I remember why I like Bungie games. I remember why I like Halo. It was the gunplay. I just remember thinking that whole first year, man, you know, the game's grindy, I don't have everything I want, but I keep coming back to it because the gunplay is so fun. Like, even at the core, the mechanics, it's good. So that was what hooked me to the game. Now the Destiny 1 weapons there was a lot fewer weapons in Destiny 1 in vanilla than there are even now in Destiny 2 vanilla. Destiny 2 vanilla probably has 5 times the guns that Destiny 1 had. In Destiny 1 in the vanilla, you had Vault of Last guns, you had Crucible, Vanguard, and then faction guns. That was it. No other guns. So those were the guns you could get, those are the guns you could have. And those guns took forever to level up. You had to get legendary shards. Was it legendary shards? What kind of shard was it? I think it was legendary shards. No, it wasn't legendary shards. I can't remember. But you had to get materials to level the gun up. It took forever. You had to do bounties. The bounties took forever. Anyway, it was a slow, grindy system, and it hooked me. It actually surprisingly hooked me. So, fast forward a little bit, and we get, I think it was Taken King and Arms Day. Now I loved Arms Day. Arms Day was my thing. I liked going to Banshee, looking at the foundry weapons that you could choose from, doing things to level up my gunsmith rank. That was a fun system, and it added a way to get guns that was kind of outside of the norm and a new and fun way to do it. Now, fast forward to Destiny 2, and you have the same ways to get gun as you did in Destiny 1. You have the same way to get gun as you did in Arms Day. You just don't have the foundry packages. You can still turn in rep to the gunsmith and get weapons from him. You can get weapons from people on the planets. You can get weapons from all the vendors. You get faction guns, Iron Banner guns, all these different guns that you can get, raid weapons, stuff like that. So the base is there. It's like you've got the gun base. So in Destiny 2, there's a lot of different ways to get guns. You have the foundries that are gonna be the main focus of what I want to talk about in a minute. But you still have, you know, Vanguard, Crucible, factions, and then the random guns, the gunsmith guns, the raid guns, so stuff like that. So low-hanging fruit, I would like to see some strike exclusives. That would be really cool. A strike exclusive gun and piece of armor. So a warlock, a titan, and a hunter, one piece of armor for each one of those, and a gun. I would like to have a reason to grind those strikes and to make them useful. Well, that's low-hanging fruit. That's something that I am expecting them to do, or I would hope they would be smart enough to do, maybe. So that's not the main focus of what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is the foundries. I believe there's so much untapped potential there. Now, we do have a lot of different guns. We have Amalon, Suros, Vice, Haka in the game. We have Tex Mechanica that hasn't been in the game. We have Nadir. We have, oh, I can't even think of all the other ones. There's a bunch of foundries. There's 7 or 8 foundries that I can not think of the names, but I know they're in there. I bet you there's 10 at least. Anyway, come on, Bungie. Anyway, so what I'd like to see is an Arms Day type situation. Maybe it can be completely different from an Arms Day, but I want the foundries to have a physical location. They could be on the planets, they could be at the Traveler, they could be just on Earth somewhere, but I'd like each one of the foundries to have a physical location. I would like to be there an event, a weekly event, where you can pledge to rep for a foundry, where you can pledge to do things for a foundry, whether it is gather materials, whether it is, you know, test these guns. You could field test guns, whether it's, you know, defeat enemies, run a quest through a strike, run a quest through the raid, you know, something to where you're working for a foundry and you're working for one foundry. It's kind of like Faction Rally where you have to pledge a foundry, but you could change it every week and you're working that week to level up your rep. And as you level up, you get guns. So that would be really, really cool, but that's not even all that I'd like to see. So you get guns from the foundry, you can work with the foundries, you can get the blank slate weapons, or you can go to the gunsmith and turn your rep and get random ones. But you still you could kind of, you know, overlap the loot pools between the gunsmith and the foundries and how all that works. But what if that all was working? You had those like blank canvas guns that don't have any, you know, affiliation to anything, that are just the guns from the foundries, or the arms day guns, or the gunsmith guns like we've got right now. Or let's take it a step farther and add each one of the foundries is a faction foundry for that season. So Viced, take Viced for instance, the really cool, you know, green glowy guns, or whatever you want to call them. What if New Monarchy used only Viced weapons for Season 2 of Destiny 2? So every gun was a Viced gun. The hand cannon, the scout rifle, the sidearm, the fusion rifle, everything was a Viced scout, or a Viced something. It could be New Monarchy branded with the colors and the you know, icons, but it's actually a Viced gun, and that's their seasonal foundry. They're working with that foundry for the season. So when you go over there, you have a little lore of why the foundry has been chosen for the faction. Maybe just a blurb. Doesn't have to be anything special. And then, you know, for that season, they're gonna be all Viced weapons. So if there's this particular, you know, Viced auto rifle you wanted, there you go. Now this kind of solves the issue of random rolls too, because you would have so many different options that, you know, the foundry weapon for the Viced auto rifle and the faction weapon for the Viced auto rifle could be completely different based on perks, RPM, stuff like that, and you could change it constantly. And you can have 2 or 3 different versions of the same gun floating around at the same time, like we already kind of do. But it wouldn't feel like a reskin. It would feel like there was a functional part of the story that was bringing it together that I would really, really like to see. And I think it's, you know, a very untapped potential. There's a very high untapped potential in the foundries, the weapon foundries. Where are they? Like, where do they come from? What's the lore? Put it in the game. I know there's lore around them somewhere, but, you know, put it, you know, in the game. Give us something else to do weekly that would be fun and interesting. So, and you can always bring back Arms Day. I wouldn't mind that. That would be an enjoyable process to go through. I do imagine they're going to bring back some version of Arms Day or the Gunsmith in the Osiris DLC. So, and, you know, I don't, if they ever watch this video, I don't expect any of these changes to happen quickly, but I think there'd be something to be interesting to be like a Comet DLC edition, or, you know, a seasonal DLC, or I don't know. They could pair the factions and the seasons and the weapon foundries and the vendors. They could pair them up so well, add so much different story lore, have different avenues for, you know, progression, stuff to grind for. Say once you hit rank 10 with a foundry, you get an exotic, and it's going to take you, you know, 5 weeks to do it. You only can get like 1.5 to 2 ranks a week or something like that. So how cool would that be that there's a quest exotic tied to a foundry that adds story lore and is a very interesting, like, what if the Suros regime came back? It was a part of the Suros foundry. You had a quest that had a lot of story tied to it from the foundry, like, hey, you've helped us out a lot. We have this gun. We lost it recently to Gaul. We want to rebuild it, or we want to remake it, or we want to find it again. Will you help us go get it? Will you help us do it? Will you help us, you know, whatever? And then you get sent off to a quest. It could be a new quest. It could be adventures. It could be just do things. But, you know, send us through a little bit of a quest to get the Suros regime back. Or a new Suros exotic. Give me a Suros exotic, hand cannon or something. Something very interesting and different and new. But that's something, and that's mainly what I'm thinking about. But I want to know what you think. What would you like to see as far as Destiny 2 and the foundries? Would you like to see, you know, a lot more? Would you like to see it in the game? Would you like to see it as part of the story? I'm very interested in what you guys have as feedback on this one. I don't know what I'm going to title this yet. I want to call it Destiny's Broke Weapon System and How to Fix It, but I believe that's a little bit unfair. Destiny 2's weapon system is not broken. It's just a little unfull. It's unfull. It's a glass half empty type situation for me. in Destiny 2. But I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comments what you think about what's your favorite gun in Destiny. I always like asking that question at the end of these videos. But ramble mode has been engaged. So thanks again for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Leave a like if you enjoyed this. Subscribe if you want to see more. And I appreciate all you that do. And you mean a lot to me. So until next time, I'm Death Above, and I will see you later. See ya, bye.